Joe Rieck, Vice President of Sales for the largest direct-to-consumer preparedness company, My Patriot Supply. During his 15 years in the industry, he has helped to start a couple of emergency preparedness companies and has helped thousands of people become better prepared. You might have seen him recently on Jacques Passaic's show discussing how people need to be prepared for all types of situations. Welcome to the show, Joe.
Hey, thank you so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Fabulous. So let's get to the nitty-gritty. Tell us about your emergency food and why should people be stocking up today?
Well, there's a variety of different reasons as to why people need to get prepared. You know, historically, it's been because of natural disasters. It's been because of earthquakes, for floods, for hurricanes, things of that nature. And probably about 3 years ago was really when the world first became aware of the need to get prepared with the onset of COVID, where there were major lockdowns throughout the country, and it really frightened a lot of people. And so the reasons why people get prepared is there's a variety of different reasons. You know, now it's not so much for the natural disasters. It's not so much for the earthquake preparedness, but now it's because of the uncertainty in the world. You know, there's a lot of people that are concerned right now with higher food prices, with inflation. There's a lot of people afraid of what's going on with international conflicts. I mean, you look at what's going on over there in Ukraine with the war with Russia and Ukraine. There's a lot of threats coming from China to invade Taiwan. And of course, there's a major political election coming up next year that has a lot of people worried about their futures. And what they've realized is that they cannot rely on the government anymore to come bail them out. You know, 20, 30 years ago, it was a different story where the government was very, very responsive and they were quick to come to the needs of people who are affected by those natural disasters. But now they see how slow it takes for the government to get mobilized to really bring that assistance. And so it's really up to those individuals to become better prepared and to be more self-reliant. And that's really what we do here at My Patriot Supply is we try to teach people the importance of self-reliance, that it's not just, you know, having a couple of cans or extra cans in your food pantry, but it's having a preparedness plan with items that you need to be able to, that'll be able to sustain you and your family, whether we're talking about food or water or, you know, other options for emergency power like solar powered devices, things of that nature. And so that's really what we do here at My Patriot Supply is we try to educate customers and people the importance of being prepared for any type of situation that they may come into.
And most recently, we saw the unfortunate disaster of what happened in Maui, and the government is not coming in, assisting and helping as quickly as we'd like, or in other ways. And so, you know, sometimes we think, okay, we're going to have a forewarning of something to happen and we'll get prepared. No, sometimes the least thing that you could expect can happen. And that's the worst situation that anyone should ever confront with. How am I going to feed my family in this emergency situation? It comes in many different forms. But the very important question I think that most people have on their mind is because we're a little spoiled. We're a culture that's a little spoiled. We like the way, you know, our dinners taste and all that stuff. So tell us, really, how does this food taste? Although I know because I'm a client. So go ahead.
You know, that's one of my most favorite questions that I get asked is, gosh, Joe, what does the food taste like? It looks great on the computer screen, but what does it really taste like? And really, I think people are going to be very surprised at how delicious these meals are. And one thing they have to remember is that these are emergency meals, you know, so it's not going to taste like grandma's home cooking, but I'll tell you what, it's probably better than mom's home cooking some nights. But the idea is this food has up to a 25-year shelf life. So this is something that you get, you put it away, it'll be there whenever you and your family need it. And to prepare these meals, it's as simple as adding it to boiling water, letting it sit and simmer for up to 10 to 15 minutes, and you're going to have a delicious meal ready within minutes for you and your family. And we're not talking about ration bars. We're not talking about those MREs, you know, those meals ready to eat that the military uses. We're talking gourmet, long-term emergency food, meals like pasta Alfredo or lasagna or spaghetti. We have 21 different meal varieties available here at My Patriot Supply. So you're not stuck eating the exact same thing every single day. And these are also meals that the kids absolutely love. You know, mac and cheese. I mean, who doesn't like a good bowl of mac and cheese? So these are meals that everybody is used to eating already. It's just that it has up to a 25-year shelf life, and you're simply adding it to water. And that's pretty much it. But My Patriot Supply, we have different packages, different sizes available. So really depending on the size of your family, we really have something for everybody.
So it's a good thing you mentioned that, because just because it might seem like it's the end of the world doesn't mean like it's got to taste like it's the end of the world. So that's the good news, folks. So what about for the people nowadays, you know, they're on a tight budget? Do you allow, you know, any kind of special like paying overtime, or what is available to those who, you know, really want to get prepared, but they may not have the pocket necessarily to pay out?
You know, that is a great question. And here at My Patriot Supply, we have different options available. We have, you know, you can pay for it up front if you want to. We have an option where you can pay over time. And this is probably the most popular feature that we have, where it's 0% interest. If you want to spread out your payments, you know, on your emergency food supply for up to 5 months out, you can divide it up over the course of 5 months. It doesn't use any credit check on your self, you know, credit. There's no financing fees available with it. It's just our way to help people get better prepared. And that's really been a great option considering what's going on in the economy right now, where your dollars are a little bit tighter. You have to make them stretch out a little bit further. But the most important thing is that I can tell your audience is you got to get prepared now. Even though it may seem like everything is going right in the world, that there's no need to get prepared, now really is the time that you got to get prepared, because it's a lot better getting prepared before an emergency than it is either during or even afterwards. And so again, it's about educating people the need to get prepared. And I just want to go back to one point that you mentioned. It doesn't have to be a natural disaster. It doesn't have to be a global pandemic. But if you think about it, if the breadwinner of the family, if mom or dad ends up losing their job, or they get hurt and they can't go to work anymore, is that not an emergency for that particular family? Absolutely it is. So it doesn't have to be these big events that cause people to want to get prepared. I mean, we have car insurance for our vehicles. We don't buy car insurance hoping that we're going to get into an accident. We don't have life insurance hoping that, you know, we're going to have a catastrophic injury. We get prepared for those things that life throws at us. So that way, if we happen to find ourselves in those situations, we can have the peace of mind that we're going to be taken care of. And it's the same mindset that we need to have when you're looking at emergency preparedness and emergency food. It's people that are purchasing our product. These aren't the guys that are the doomsdayers. These aren't the guys that are thinking that there's going to be a zombie apocalypse. It's the people who are looking out and understanding that things happen, and you got to be prepared for that. And nobody's going to do it unless you do it yourself.
Well, I'll tell you, knowing that I have a supply, that anything can happen, it makes me sleep better at night, knowing that my family is prepared for whatever may come. But, you know, you brought up a very important point, because you provide all these options to families, which I think is amazing. What does that mean? Does that mean that we pay more? I mean, how are you comparatively, let's say, to other brands? Because I'm thinking I'm getting a lot of bang for my dollar with all the support you're providing.
You absolutely are. And I've been doing this long enough to know that you're not going to find a better company to do business with. My Patriot Supply is the largest direct-to-consumer emergency preparedness company. We have over 2,000 calories that you get whenever you purchase any one of our supplies, whether it's a 72-hour kit or whether it's a year supply. You're going to get the necessary calories needed for survival. You're also going to get the necessary protein that your body needs that's going to convert that protein into energy. And you're not going to find a company that's going to provide you with the most variety for what you're getting at. And again, here at My Patriot Supply, I can say with 100% confidence that you're not going to find a better company that's going to put your needs and your values ahead than you are here at My Patriot Supply.
Well, that sounds really great. And you know what? A little birdie told me that you guys have a new product for heating and cooking indoors, just in case the grid goes down. Could happen. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, that's just one of the many things that we have. Our specialty has always been long-term emergency food, and we're going to continue offering the best in that particular space. But we also have an amazing assortment of hard goods. And like you mentioned, we have this little Vesta heater, the Ember oven right behind me. This is a self-powered oven. So now you can take this oven camping if you want to go do a nice little casserole out in the mountains.
We love
if the power goes out, now you can still be able to put things into the oven with this self-powered oven. It doesn't require any electricity. It runs off of what we call our canned heat. And let's say, for instance, if you don't have any of the canned heat, if you have any sticks or twigs or anything that can burn or anything that's combustible, you can use it inside that Ember oven. And so you have another way to be able to get your meals prepared, so you can make your bread. You can make those warm family meals that are going to provide comfort to those families that are ever going through that distressful situation. So along with the Ember stove, we have a variety of different other items. For example, one of the things that has been so critical is this little power solar bank. This is a wireless solar bank. So do you remember a couple of years ago when the ice storms hit Texas? Mm-hmm. That was a very devastating event that occurred to the residents and the people that live in those areas. Number one, because they're not used to having those prolonged power outages, let alone in the middle of winter. And so this little item is super handy to have because it doesn't require any electricity. It has a front solar panel on it, so you can set it out in the sun to charge. So then in the evening time, you can plug your cell phones, your other, devices that you use to communicate with into this solar power bank. And now you can have power available to be able to, again, like I said, keep your cell phone charged. So it's little items like this that people need to be aware of that even exist. We have everything from powered solar banks, powered solar flashlights that reserve the battery storage into it, emergency drinking water, fire evacuation masks like I have here that it would have been critical for the people in Maui to escape the fumes. And so again, anything that deals with emergency preparedness, My Patriot Supply is your one-stop shop to get all of those items taken care of. And here's the thing too. If you don't know where to start or don't know how to get started, give us a call. We have preparedness advisors ready to answer your questions because not every family is going to be exactly the same. There's not a one-size-fits-all program for everybody. So, for example, my little boy, my youngest son, he's type 1 diabetic. And so I have to be very conscious about the amount of carbs that he's going to be consuming, but I still got to be able to provide him with emergency food. So those instances, we have things that can cover any type of dietary restriction, any other types of health concerns. If you don't know where to get started, like I said, give us a call and we can walk you through and put you into a plan that works best for you and your family.
I really love that because you're right. It isn't one size fits all, and everybody these days have some kind of issues. I also want to say real quick, because that product you just talked about, your solar battery, this is like a mini generator at a fraction of the cost. And you could definitely see how everyone should have something like that if you're going to stay in contact with the rest of the world and have functional. To nowadays, people, are on oxygen machines or they have all kinds of problems with their health or whatnot. And if you might be in a situation where you don't have a generator, something like that could be a matter of life or death. And this is why I implore you folks out there, think about, what is your plan? Do you have a plan? Something were to happen, you can't just be shocked about it and then wonder, oh my gosh, I should have did this, I should have did that. Really think about your environment, really think about what are the things that could possibly happen, and for you to really have a plan, because in the end, that will bring comfort and you'll be ready for anything that's out there. So tell us a little bit more, Joe, because you know your stuff about the survival. I could see why you're so successful in helping others. So share with us, what's a good strategy for becoming truly self-reliant these days?
Well, again, every family is going to be different. What's interesting to see, though, are the trends of what's going on in the emergency space. And let me give you a little bit of an example. 20, 30 years ago, the Red Cross, who everybody goes to for information on how to get through any types of disasters or any types of emergencies, 20 years ago, they were advocating for families to have no less than 72 hours worth of food stored away for their family, in like a little get up go bag or just a little reserve, emergency food storage. That was 72 hours worth. Today, the Red Cross is saying nothing short of a month. So just the dramatic increase in the amount of level of preparation that is needed is going up increasingly, and it's happening year over year. Now, again, every family is going to be different. However, I strongly recommend that every person in your family, every person in your household that you are responsible for, you need to have at least a 3-month supply of food on hand. And I understand that based on your religious background, it may be longer than that. But at a bare minimum, I urge everybody needs to get prepared to have at least 3 months worth of food, of water, as well as ways to purify water on hand in your homes. Because if there is a situation where you need to hunker down and you need to stay put in your home, you can enjoy the protection of your roof over your head, but you still have to provide food. You still have to provide heat. You still have to provide water. So those are the 3 critical areas that I would suggest everybody needs to pay attention to. And a fun little activity to do on the weekend for your family to really determine how prepared you are. Friday night, when you get home from work, shut the power off to your house and don't turn it back on till Monday. And I think you'll learn very, very fast how insufficient you are prepared for anything that were to happen to you. So try that, and you'll come back and you'll be like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do about water? If there's no water to the house, if there's no electricity to the house, what are we going to do? But here's the thing, is you don't have to live in that fear. You can come to My Patriot Supply and you can talk with us and we can put together a plan that's going to help you and your family overcome those situations. Because there's nothing greater than having the peace of mind or the confidence that you can get through any situation and still take care of your loved ones.
Well, that is really good advice, especially doing that 3-day check system to really put you into understanding what you need, what you're ready for, what you thought you were ready for, and where you're lacking, of course. Now, here's the big question I have for you, Joe, because nowadays I think, people are really thinking about this. So right after this interview, I could see a whole lot of folks going on there to make the orders. Now, be honest with you. Do you have enough inventory? Can you handle the demand? How many warehouses do you have out there for us patriots to be able to make the orders?
Well, let me tell you this. Here in Salt Lake City is where we have our main manufacturing facility and distribution center. We're in right now a 450,000 square foot facility. We have multiple distribution centers throughout the country as well. Now, that being said, we are a preparedness company and we always want to be able to have things in stock, things ready to go. Here's the thing that I'm going to say to that. We're prepared right now. But let's say, for instance, if China were to invade Taiwan, supplies are going to run out very, very fast because a lot of the world is so dependent on imports coming in from other countries. For example, India just barely put a ban on all of their exports for their rice, which affects a huge amount of people. We're talking over 1 billion people that are dependent on India's exportation of their rice. Since the conflict in Ukraine accounts for 33% of the world grain exports. And we are seeing that in our pocketbooks right now, the lack of having that supply, throughout the world. When that happens, costs are going to go up and you're going to be paying more at the grocery store. But we are a preparedness company and we pride ourselves on having things that's in stock and able to ship out within a 2-day time frame. But again, we don't know what events are going to happen. But for the time being, yes, we can handle any order. We can handle any type of emergency. So be it that it's not a natural, world catastrophe or World War III that we're going to potentially be entering into. But that's why it is so important to get prepared today. You have no idea what tomorrow is going to bring. So when you can do it, and if you can get it done today, get it done. And if you can't get everything done, if you can't get your whole goals of having everybody to have a 3-month supply, start small. Get them a week supply, but just get something because something is better than nothing. And the better that everybody's prepared, the better off that everybody in the world is going to be. So keep that in mind as you're preparing that. Don't feel like you have to do it all at once. There's a phrase that we say here at My Patriot Supply and this is, emergency preparedness is a journey, not a destination. So even today, as long as I've been doing this, I'm still coming up with new tips and new tricks of things that I need to add to my personal supply because I'll go through a certain situation and be like, well, gosh, it would be nice if I had something like this that can help me in this area. And I continue to add to it. So it's a lifestyle change that is becoming more and more common in today's world than it was 30 years ago.
Well, certainly our world is changing, and so does our preparedness as well. We need to become more well educated. I think the key also, your customer service, calling in, having a discussion. Of course, you don't know, you may not know much, but here's an opportunity to find out exactly what you need. Obviously, making that phone call is very important. Now, one last question, because I think this is important. I read something about your disaster replacement warranty. And what is your best offer right now? Let's share it with the folks. Would you be kind enough, Joe?
Okay, well, let me take your first question. What that disaster replacement warranty is. This is unique, and nobody else in the industry does this. Let's say, for instance, if you invested all of your hard-earned money in an emergency food supply, let's say, for instance, you got a 3-month supply for every member of your family. And let's say that, unfortunately, your home gets destroyed in an earthquake or a hurricane, and for some reason you lose all of your goods that you had stored up over the years. Well, if you purchase from My Patriot Supply and you enroll in our program, disaster replacement program, which is absolutely free for anybody that purchases from us, My Patriot Supply will replace what you had ordered, no questions asked. We'll get it sent out to you so that way you can still have the supplies that you had purchased and worked hard for. That's just something that we do at My Patriot Supply, and you're not going to find anything like that anywhere in the market. So we do have that disaster replacement warranty. The other thing that I would suggest, some of our hottest deals right now are honestly on our most basic kits. Right now, we're still running our Labor Day sales where you can save up to 30% on some items. You can save over $200 on other kits. Our 3-month supply kit is on sale. Right now, you can take advantage of a 4-week supply kit with 5 72-hour free kits, including that for free. So there's a bunch of different packages available that can fit any type of budget that you're looking for. But you got to visit mypatriotsupply.com to find out what those are. And again, if you don't know where to get started, give us a call. We have agents here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week that are here in office. So you're not being routed to a calling center outside of the country. You're talking with people who work here at My Patriot Supply on a daily basis.
I think that's incredible. First of all, it really shows the compassion of your company to be able to do that and understand that, how important food supplies are to the average patriot, and from one patriot to another. I applaud you and thank you for your company for what you're doing. It's so important these days to find companies that really back up what they say and really understand the harms that are out there. And it's not just for a quick buck, which I think that's what sets you guys apart, if you don't mind me saying so. So anyway, let me just say, folks, please go out there and go to mypatriotsupply.com. Make sure you go on there, check out the products, make your list of questions, call up, place your orders. There's a lot of good sales, as Joe has been mentioning. And we just want to say thank you to Joe Rieck, who's been helping to get people prepared for what may lie ahead, and for your commitment to ensuring when a catastrophe strikes, you and your family don't have to worry because you're prepared. Thank you again. Thank you for joining us.